Okay. Okay, so obviously, so if you guys have not seen yet, apparently Dante is not the character for Smash. It is a Fire Emblem character named Blight. I believe his name is, or she.
Name, who gives a shit? Like,
I
I'm not
fucking
even
t-
mad that Dante didn't get into Smash. I wanted Virgil in Smash.
I fucking told you from word go when you said Sakurai said it was a game about no one had heard of. I told you it was a fucking lie. That man was straight up fucking
No,
lying
no, no,
there.
no. He said it. What he said was is a character that you're not gonna expect.
Is that what he said? Yeah, well, he's
Yeah.
damn right. We didn't expect this kind of disappointment.
Well, yeah. He strokes
He's
Fire
a cunt.
Emblem all day long.
That's a dick move. Because, see, here's the thing Capcom announces their dates, and then these guys see that, and they're like, let's announce it on the same fucking day.
You know what's funny is that like the fighter is getting released like either a day before or a day after. Uh, Matt Walker's making the second announcement.
I
He's
just,
got the
I'm just.
lineup.
I'm just fucking here like, who fucked this one up? Was it like Capcom? Like, did Capcom know Nintendo's gonna do this, or Nintendo choose this just to build up hype? Oh, that was fucking. I mean, personally, I don't really care so much. I'm not. I don't play Smash.
I
I don't
mean,
play Nintendo.
it doesn't take a lot of effort to set up like one of these. These things were only 35 minutes long. Literally, all they had to do, because like a portion of it was just Sakurai playing like with the new character. Um, all they have to do is just have him like like read what he wants to say. Like he just does it like his own voice lines, and then like, oh,
So
here's the
then,
trailer.
yeah. So then, this fucking guy did choose it after this date was announced. He knew what he was doing.
He probably did because the trailer with that stuff, not the gameplay, just the trailer was going to be pre-prepared. The gameplay would be impromptu. So if we took those portions out, he still only has like maybe like 15 to 18 minutes that he actually committed to that video,
If
to
these
that like
are
little scene.
live, like, cause these are live, right?
Yeah,
Direct live.
they are live. Well,
Yeah.
okay, so sort of and not really. They're live,
Wait.
but
So,
like
are they premieres or are they live?
they're live. They're live, but like there's a point where obviously when they do the reveal, it's like here's the fighter's reveal. They pull the camera away from him and they do the video of the
Yeah.
fighter, and
Oh,
then they get
okay.
back to him.
Yeah, but what I meant was like this is a live event. This is a live video
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do.
Like it says they're live at least. And we see him at some point, and he's going over it in real time.
That's some fucking bullshit right there, man. He knew exactly what he was fucking doing. Like literally every fucking Smash streamer too was already putting Dante in there too. He knew exactly what he was doing, building up the hype for it, and then we just got fucking slapped in the face with Blight.
Jesus, there's a ton of posts on the Reddit like most as when like no invites when Dante's not in Smash, yay exclusivity, blah 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 blah.
Okay, so before we continue, well, yeah, so no, fucking for reals, people are really upset. Again, I'm just over here like, fuck it, whatever. We're back here again. No, nothing's changed.
Mm,
I guess fucking Cuphead is a Mii fighter now as well, as is
I was
Altair.
more excited for that than like the entire fighter.
Well, okay, dude. I mean, again, I've played Smash only a couple of times, but they have a lot of Fire Emblem characters.
They do. They have like eight, which is
Yeah,
like
I'm a little
10% of the
surprised.
roster.
I'm a little surprised. Like, there's not like maybe like another character from a different franchise, like another joint franchise, like SMT or something. I don't know on this one.
I mean, if you count the Mario characters, all the characters from Mario and Pokemon, with the combination of like those three franchises, you have like I think close to, if not more than 30% of the roster of Smash Ultimate.
I mean, but that makes sense though. Mario's Nintendo's fucking cash cow as his Pokemon.
Well, Intelligent Systems, I don't think is owned by Nintendo. They've always just made things for Nintendo properties.
I mean, yeah, but
It's
you're never
a
gonna think Pokemon's gonna be on any other system besides mobile.
Yeah, but that's why I'm like I've said before, like the Fire Emblem characters, except for maybe Robin, the Fire Emblem characters don't get like a proper seamless transition, which is why most of them just show up as carbon copies of each other. Granted, this one, what's its name?
Blight.
Blight.
Well, it's right
Like
there.
a
Blight.
blight, like a blight on the world, like a blight on my expectations today.
I was having such a nice day too.
No, seriously.
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was just like, oh, so I guess it's not Dante because I expected him to do it later today. That being said, so did you see the actual? Did you see the actual reveal for DMC or no?
For the last stuff, yeah, that's gonna be more what we're talking about. But like one more thing, there are some differences between the Fire Emblem characters. Ike is just a heavy core and is different. Robin is legitimately the only like unique Fire Emblem character.
I played Robin a couple of times in Smash 4, so yeah, I'm familiar with Robin.
He's fun if you know what you're doing. Luckily, he was buffed recently, so you know he's that the fact that this fighters for people who are playing Smash that are listening to the stream, this fighters just like any other fighters announcements comes with a patch to the game that includes them and usually includes large gameplay changes. So you know, hopeful for buffs. Buff
I
my
guess
Mewtwo.
the Fire Emblem community is really freaking just ramming it into the DMC community, according to one post here.
Where?
Well, apparently, it's over here, the Fire Emblem community are being quite disrespectful with the Smash reveal. Let's be clear here. Let's be clear here. If you win,
I wasn't
you
aware.
get the right to talk shit.
I wasn't aware the Fire Emblem has, unlike DMC, they had to have new games over the course of like a decade created to revive them. Like DMC was kept alive on online forums pretty consistently and with
Mangler,
combo mats.
leave the chat and join back in. You keep cutting out a little bit.
How about now?
All right, sounding better.
Okay, I was like, unlike Fire Emblem, DMC actually had to work to keep its community alive, and was successful in doing so because we maintained a presence in online message boards, discords, and of course things like.
Honestly, for me personally,
Like in the stuff. What?
For me personally, it's just kind of like it feels like the fans are kind of getting shafted for the new players, in my personal opinion, going forward here with DMC. But we'll talk about that a bit further. No, Fire Emblem community can go fuck themselves. They're stuck on one fucking console, and no one even knew who the fuck they were until the fucking Switch came out.
I mean, honestly, in time, if DMC does kick off, it's gonna dominate Fire Emblem because Fire Emblem is only an exclusive property, and if that happens, anytime that you have a bad like game on an exclusive platform, you have to have a consistent record. Anytime you fuck up, like the fan base can like tank significantly.
I mean, but at the very least, it looks like they know what they're doing. But they create a fucking what do they create? They create a turn-based strategy game, right? That's what Fire Emblem is.
It's just like Advance Wars.
Poor man's XCOM.
What do you mean, poor man's XCOM?
The poor man's XCOM.
What is XCOM?
XCOM, Enemy Unknown, XCOM 2?
I think I've heard of it. No.
I'll fucking shoot you.
Advance Wars is a pretty damn good designed game. Unless you're playing Advance Wars Dual Strike. That we don't.
Fire Emblem was way too successful to not add in Blight. Plus, they were the safe choice from the game. Wait, is this character from the new game?
He's from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
So he is from the new game.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a little more sense why he's here. I'm surprised they didn't bring in the person from Astral Chain actually. A protagonist from Astral Chain, because Astral Chain was a pretty successful game.
Are you sure you're streaming?
Well, I'm not streaming. I'm just making a video and I'm going to upload it afterwards. These are usually more popular than actual streams themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well then. I was like, you must be reading everything from the Reddit then.
Yeah, I'm reading everything from the Reddit right now. Apparently, even on the DMC3 announcement, there are people over there fucking making fun of them.
I mean, honestly, we're getting way more as a community than Fire Emblem is getting, so I don't know why they're bragging.
Like well, hang on. We don't know if we're getting more as a community. The Switch is getting more.
We are. because that still includes the DMC fans.
I
Like,
mean, a
if you want to be,
subsection of them.
I mean, there are people that have PS4s and Xbox Ones that also have Switches. There are people that have PCs that have
Yeah,
Switches.
I'm not saying there are people who don't have a Switch. I'm saying like it's not the majority. It's also not, or at the very
I
least, if we take the Discord as a sample size, it's not the majority. And
I
if we,
under,
oh, good.
I understand, but there's also a likelihood. Maybe this is sort of where we can like segue into what I do want to talk about. What I did want to talk about last night was obviously the official announcement. No, they did not confirm style change on the website. They literally.
But they did confirm it
I
in the
don't-
video.
they did confirm it.
Yeah.
He never if you look back and watch the video, the reason why I'm picky about this and why I'm anal is because Capcom, like a lot of companies, do this where they're very careful with their words. They have to be, because they don't want to send you the wrong impressions, especially when half the community is screaming for Virgil DLC every single time they blink. It's very important for them to be like, hey, style switching on the fly. That's right, you can switch between multiple styles. It's like, all right, confirmed. All right. Whereas he's just like, the new style change system. That doesn't mean anything if you're bringing it to a new platform, because it's already new to begin with.
That being said, I know we're gonna move on to the style switching, but so have you been on the Reddit this morning or not? Because like basically everyone
I'm just now on it.
basically like everyone who's giving complaints about Blight is getting downvoted in the comment section. It's so fucking weird.
On the DMC Reddit?
Yeah, apparently we have enough fucking active Fire Emblem fans on the DMC Reddit. Or
what?
I don't. Yeah. Like the posts are being downvoted.
You traitors!
Okay, this one has the fanboy being downvoted, but I remember seeing one earlier where the actual guy.
Link me the thread.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it here. Let me see here, but yeah,
that's kind of hilarious, but also like unbelievable.
Let's see here. I guess there's a meme of Sakurai flipping off something.
Oh yeah.
Let me check it
Always.
I did.
Can't wait for next gen when DMC 5 gets ported to the Nintendo Reversal. That's funny. Anyway, continue.
Hang on, what? If this happens over game, oh. No, it's not. It's not play on me fighter. Okay, so well, I'll look for that in a bit. I guess we should talk about the fact that now style switching, like DMC4, is announced for DMC3 on the Switch as the first of the 3 announcements. Which that game's not gonna be as good as it was originally.
So for some reason, there's something going on with my mic where I can hear a little bit of static whenever someone talks. It's not too bad, so I'm gonna see if I can turn you down, and that'll adjust it.
Because as much as I hate to go Mangler on this, I feel like DMC3 was kind of built with the idea of only having one style. If you can have all 6 at once, that game's gonna be busted as hell.
So obviously, we need to discuss. This is gonna have a long. So prepare the video to be probably an hour long, maybe, maybe shorter than that. It depends, because there's not really too much to talk about as far as the other announcements. We didn't know anything more than we do then, and we know Dante's not going to get confirmed for Smash, at least for this Fighter's Pass. It's completely open there.
No. So one of the posts on DMC Reddit was saying that Sakurai's aware people complain about too many swordsmen. So there's a very good chance the next Fighter Pass won't have any swordsmen. I feel like he just stuck this character in here just so like one last like fucking fu.
I get if you want to go that way, like again, swordsman can be extrapolated to people with like bladed weapons. Hero was a swordsman. Fucking like Joker
No. I'm not saying no. That's why I'm saying for the next battle pass, we probably won't be getting swordsmen because people are still like it is a big complaint of the Smash
No,
community.
no, 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 no. The big complaint of the Smash community is that we have way too many characters that are too similar to one another, and most of those end up being Fire Emblem characters, and that robs the opportunity for proper
Wow.
things. I don't know where the idea of sword characters comes from.
I've literally
Like,
never like literally the main complaint here about the game is there's too many sword characters. Like even among the people
what,
who I played
who
with,
who is saying this? Like, who thinks that having a sword makes you so similar? Like, if this is true, then Link would play the same way that Shulk does.
I think it has
Except that
something
he
to do with the.
doesn't.
I think it has more to do with the fact that sword characters have extended range than most melee characters. I think
I
that's.
mean,
I think that's what has to do with it
I mean,
because that's
that's
kind of
that's
unfair.
not even accurate most of the time because
Um,
depending on what moves you're
Mangler,
using,
Mangler, Mangler.
melee characters.
If people on the internet say it, it's obviously true.
Okay, jeez.
You fool.
My bad. I spoke out of turn. Mm. So let's see. What's it called? Um. Oh yeah. So getting away from Smash to the DMC, you said that you don't think that game DMC3 is designed to handle 6 styles at one time.
I very. Hang on. What's. Oh, weird. I am very well aware that game is going to be fucking completely fucking broken. It's not going to be the same experience by any capacity. It's going to be a lot easier this time around.
Well, so I have this. I think for the most part, if the same assets of the game were kept identical and they didn't change anything in gameplay outside of that, yeah, it'd be easier. It'd be way easier. But I highly doubt that's going to be the case. Um, I like I if
Well,
they felt the need to like again like to make this code for the style switcher, like they had to have created this entire game from the ground up on a new platform and then put it in there. Granted, the DDMK mods from just independent modders for the newest version of the HD collection took a little less than a year with
okay.
no studio and no trained team and not a lot of like wealth and
You
resources
know,
or time on their
I
hands.
saw
So
someone on the Reddit say that too. Like the game had to go from the ground up for this code. I don't think you guys understand how coding works inherently. Because see, the reason the
so it
modders took so long is because they didn't have the source code. They didn't have any of like the tools to the kingdom. Capcom has that. They could do this. Shouldn't be as hard for them as it was for fucking the
Well,
modder.
it didn't take the same amount of time on the second HD collection. The DDMK mod was only developed on the second HD collection, the one that's ported the Xbox One, the PS4, and the PC. That took less than a year because they know what they were doing now and they were more familiar with the idea. They had to completely like make the code from scratch. Like it
Yeah,
was brand new code that had never been done before on the original.
yeah.
However, I don't say that this is the case for the Nintendo because they were already making the entire game from scratch. So they didn't
Is
have
that
to
how porting works?
like they've never put it in they're not really porting it again. They're like
Well,
if
no, no,
this
no.
were
So,
true
so what they have to do is they have to bring in the whole game, but they're not going to recode the whole game from scratch. That's not how programming works. You bring whatever code that works with you. So that's why I'm kind of wondering,
like
like,
well, certain systems are not compatible with
yeah.
them.
So I was going to ask, does a Nintendo Switch just have like a completely different fucking like processor behind it or something?
And
I'm trying to do
it
tech talk.
should.
I don't know shit about tech.
If you look at the specs,
Well, it's because I've never
it's
seen.
not 100% of the game. Obviously, there are going to be some things that are compatible, but for the most part,
Look, so
yeah.
here's what I'm thinking here. Changed for the Nintendo Switch. Uh, Visually, nothing because they can just port that over the graphics and such. I suspect they'd have to rework the interface. That's about as far as I think the coding goes. They have to just rework the entire interface for the game. That's as far as I think it goes for coding. Because you don't have to change
Mm.
the enemies. You don't have to change anything about the gameplay itself unless they're balancing it for fucking style switching, and I'm sure you have ideas on how they'll do that one. And unless they're
And
adding new
possibly a
shit,
character or whatever.
yeah, because
Yeah.
again, possibly we might get a playable fucking lady. If we do,
Well,
good for us.
graphics look to be somewhere in between the first port of the HD collection and the second port, which is still pretty nice because the first port wasn't too bad. It's just it had some lighting issues in like DMC1 and DMC3 on the 360, and then DMC like DMC HD collection on the PS3 actually looked quite nice. So if this is more powerful than that, it should look quite a bit better.
I mean, anything beyond the PS2 era is gonna look nice in comparison to like a remaster, because unless it's a full on remake, this is as good as it's gonna get.
Mm.
There
Now,
was no.
as far as the balance itself, like, I mean, here's what we have to discuss though. Um,
Arkham Fight got 6 times worse.
actually, no.
Don't
We,
want to
we,
think
we
about
don't
it.
have we don't have any details on the way that they're handling the Arkham fight
I
because Capcom
guarantee
might
you they're not changing it. I'll put money right now.
Capcom might just be like, you know what, you're restricted from using Devil Trigger, but this time Virgil's teleport is mapped to your Devil Trigger, and anything using the Devil Trigger mechanic that uses the button will be restricted. So Quicksilver and Doppelganger. Obviously, Doppelganger will have to be restricted in that fight. There's no way around that because
No,
Virgil's AI is literally designed, unless they just remade him in that fight, like
I
they
would
remade his mechanics
personally
in that fight.
say that you don't have to get rid of Quicksilver because Virgil can use Devil Trigger Bar in his playthrough, so you can leave the styles that fucking use Devil
Well,
Trigger.
no, because Virgil's Devil Trigger bar doesn't use the Devil Trigger button.
Yeah, I understand that, but if we're gonna keep style. Oh wait, yeah, styles are
It's,
just used by clicking B, right? No, it's RB and B
yeah,
for.
yeah. Well, it depends on what DT is mapped to on your controller. Because
Is the button DT that's
hang
fucking
on a
B?
minute. Does the base version of HD Collection on the newest version does it have the ability to use customizable controls? Because I know the PCs do.
I think you can customize controls for the DMC3. Yeah, I think you can. I mean, on the Switch, it's not going to matter. You only have like 4 buttons. I don't know. I don't know how a Switch controller is.
No. It's the same amount of buttons as the Xbox One controller, whether you're playing on the Joy-Con or the Nintendo
What?
Switch controller.
The
It's literally
assumptions.
identical. You fool. So they might add, like, if it's not there, then if that's the case, they're probably going to add like a new like default set of controls that you can use. Well, they'll default it the same way. They'll be like, oh, here's type 1, type 2, type 3, all that stuff. So overall, it's still going to be the best version of DMC3 that we'll have as far as like customization. Um,
Yeah, no fucking shit, because you can literally switch all your fucking styles.
Now, as far as we'll get into the Arkham fight later, as far as core difficulty, yes, the core difficulty will be significantly reduced. Um, but it also depends on a couple of things.
I think the first question on the
Depend-
table is how is XP going to be balanced between the style switching?
Oh, it'll work just like it does in the regular game. That like when you have a style out, so in DMC3 normally when you kill an enemy in, let's say, Trickster,
Yeah, you get
um,
points for Trickster, but don't you get bonus points for being the level with the style?
um,
Don't you get bonus XP there? That's kind of what I'm
yeah, but
saying anyway.
I'd imagine they might find like they might like divide it among the styles or something else.
That
That's
would
really
slow
the
down
only change.
progression.
Wait, what?
That would slow down progression considerably.
Well, that's sort of the thing that I think not a lot of people are touching on is that while you do have 4 styles, I mean, you're going to be significantly weaker for most of the game in your style abilities than an actual DMC3 player because they could max out Trickster immediately and never be hit by anything, whereas you're just sitting there with a one dodge, or they could just like max out Royal Guard immediately or Swordmaster and then just real impact cheese a bunch of enemies, and you don't have the ability to do that because you're jumping around with Royal Guard and Gunslinger.
Sword trick, sword trick.
That's gonna be weird, but that and there is that condition, so it will make things very grindy. Um, it also depends on if they added any new moves, um, or if they nerfed anything. I
Okay,
don't think.
so I don't think they'll nerf anything inherently, but considering we have 2 more announcements, I think we might see some new moves, maybe.
I was gonna say that for anyone watching this, we're
Post it.
not talking yet about the gameplay changes in regards to what Capcom will do to the rest of the things outside of the playable characters. Just like initially, we will get to that momentarily. What was it called? I was gonna say that Quicksilver could be nerfed, but like, you know,
I mean,
I don't
Quicksilver
know.
already fucking sucked to begin with. It drained your DT way too
What do
fast.
you? Quicksilver's the most broken style ever introduced.
No,
Yes, it
Mangler.
literally stops
No,
time.
no, Mangler for like 5 seconds. This isn't JoJo's, but that's a good amount of time.
Yeah, and you can. Look. I know this is unfamiliar to you because you don't know how to jump cancel. But like when you
How
jump
dare
cancel an
you!
enemy, you can use the strongest moves in the game because the
The,
default aerials of every move are the strongest moves in the game,
the
and you just
Mangler
spam them.
time was better.
No, it wasn't actually.
Lies.
DT was just easier to acquire in that game, so it artificially made the Bengal of Time a lot more
You
usable.
know, I've never heard of a fucking time slow somehow not being fucking worse than a
Also,
time
the
stop.
Bengal of Time doesn't work on bosses.
Yeah, because fucking
Quicksilver,
Mundus is like, fuck
Quicksilver
time.
over here. No. Quicksilver here is like, hey.
Works on everyone but fucking Virgil,
Quick,
because if Virgil gets stuck in any invulnerability state, you are literally watching him stay invulnerable the entire
I mean,
time.
it's not like he can get close to you. Like, yeah, there's a point where he's
The fact that
invulnerable
he can still hit
to
you is
fight.
bullshit.
I mean, he's extremely slow, so if you get hit by him, it's your own fault.
Extremely fucking slow. No, shut the fuck up. So this man let's say this man breaks your combo string. Even in Quicksilver, he can still instantly break you, passively combo into his fucking up down.
Yeah, if you just don't hit him. Like, again,
Mm.
why would you? You can just walk away. you
No,
can
no, no, no.
literally
Okay, so
walk
Virgil
away
can
from him.
parry you in the times in the Quicksilver. He can parry you, and when you're
Yeah,
parried,
so that's
you're stuck
that's
in
that's just his
frames.
auto parry mechanic. That happens regardless of whether or not you're in
No,
Quicksilver.
I understand that, but it's like, oh, so he parries me in slow down time, and then he can still follow me up in slow down time. Are you
Yeah,
sure this
but you can
motherfucker
see
is
the follow
slowed
up a
down?
million years. You're just like, oh hey, I see the like you can see the follow up in real time and
No, I
dodge it.
know. You can fucking see the animation. That's what makes it worse. You see it come
Look,
closer.
we're not having a debate about this. This is not a point. Is they may or may not nerf it. If it stays the same, all right. But I have a feeling it's gonna be like it's good for the sake of combos and like replayability. Quicksilver will now be able to be implemented and put in with like a lot more weapons and like different unique combinations.
Oh, you know what? I bet that's the second announcement.
What?
Having more weapons in your loadout.
Yeah, I was gonna say irregular full custom might be a thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll be the next announcement, given that. So, okay, now we have an idea of what the announcements could be, and their full gameplay changes.
Yeah, so
Potentially.
so this is why I'm wondering like if this was the case, if they added playable 80, or if they added like brand new moves, and then like maybe some like adjustments to mechanics and speed, and then like some game modes and shit.
I think with this announcement, I think I can confirm the next two announcements. I think I can. I'm gonna predict them
Maybe
right
the next
now.
one. I don't know. Like, I don't know about the third
I'm gonna
one.
predict this right now. One of the announcements will be Virgil getting his doppelganger from DMC5. He'll have a blue doppelganger in the game.
That what would that even look like?
Well, just
Like as far as the model.
the model, I would say it's just going to be like doppelgangers all like well, doppelganger turns into just imagine doppelganger's all black model, but just make it blue and just make it for
Look,
Virgil.
I'd be up for them being like, hey, in canon, Virgil has a doppelganger. But like,
Well,
give me a fucking cutscene. All you gotta do. No. Actually, just add it to his arsenal. Just add
well,
it to his
that's why.
arsenal, and then like we can confirm it through gallery.
So either he'll have that for his boss fight only, or he'll have it like for his playable character. But
So
I'm pretty
so
sure
so
doppelganger will be added to Virgil's kit.
this is sort of like where it gets back to if we just jump back to the style switching. Where it gets broken is if you max one style or you get some styles to level 2 because you only really need trickster at level 1. You don't need trickster at level 2. It's not necessary. Shooting star, yeah, but like having a dodge roll and killer bee and helmbreaker is more than enough evasive maneuvers, but having like an extra dash, like
The fact that you can swap between all the styles, if you can get them all to level 2, or just get one level 3 and like Royal Guard to level 2, you're basically a god.
Well, okay,
No
so
amount of
it's
fucking
sort of
DET Virgil's gonna stop you
so
now.
there are limits to what you can do in the DMC3 system, even for hardcore players, due to a lot of things. So, for one,
No inertia.
Royal Guard, you need to be consistent. No, no, fuck inertia. um, you need to be consistently practicing Royal Guard in DMC3. You can't just hop into it like you can in DMC5, where it's like really safe and it will always block it as far as DT. Like it does have arguably the best like risk reward system in 3, in that it's very skill based, but the window is quite bigger than it is in 4, but it's not as big as it is in 5. It's somewhere in between. The only problem with that style, besides it breaking against some of the weaker attacks, is the fact that the royal release in DMC3 doesn't really work properly. You can still do it, but the interaction between you and the enemy is like kind of silly.
I'd argue
Still
it doesn't
needs to be
work in
fixed.
DMC5 either.
I mean, it works just fine in DMC5. You just don't know how to do it.
No, it doesn't.
They also don't explain royal release in DMC3. It's not mentioned in the game files as far as the like the gallery descriptions stuff and weapon items.
Yeah,
Like
it
you're not.
is. Release is
No.
fucking.
Royal release is not explained to you.
Okay, so you're telling me the offensive capabilities of Royal Guard are not mentioned?
Just royal release, not release. Normal
Oh.
release is explained. Royal release is not.
Oh, okay. See, I
Not
was gonna
mentioned
say because
there.
I'm pretty sure I saw fucking release there.
Yeah, no. They just don't explain the basic mechanics of the card. Just like, like I'm fine. Part of me is like, I was fine with that because I was like, all right, explain the basic fundamentals of like every level of the style, and then like leave some interesting tidbits. But see, only one thing's being left, and that's royal release, and it's explained in all the other games. So like, I wouldn't for this. I'm assuming they're going to fix that. It's a little janky. Other than that, I would say maybe fix some of the lag on some of the trickster dashes after you win, but that's not too bad.
I mean, I think we can just agree right now is that Virgil's reputation as the hardest boss in DMC, or DMC3 Virgil's reputation is probably gonna go down a bit after the style switching gets
Well,
added. Cause
I'll
no,
get to, I will get to that. I will get to that. I promise you. So, Swordmaster might end up being the most broken thing here because assuming even if we don't have even if you don't have a regular full custom and we're still left with 2 guns and 2 swords, you can now use real impact wherever you want to go, which means now you can accessibly, assuming they don't remove it, you can use distortion all the time as soon as you get the timings down. So it's harder than it is in 4, but it's still in there. And even if you can't, I mean, it's still a DT'd real impact. Like, that's bound to hurt somebody. You can also use the cheese portions of some of the bosses. So, yeah, having that on your person all the time is pretty crazy. What would make the game, what is going to limit some of the capabilities of some of these people is that, like, certain strong, like really hard hitting moves that hit really fast, like the crazy combos. We don't have any word on whether or not they're accessible, because million stab is accessible, but stuffing like million carrots, the Cerberus mash input, that's a little wacky. Beowulf and Agni and Rudra's mash inputs are basically impossible. Like Agni and Rudra's Tempest is terrible. I can only do it if I'm doing it on like regular game speed. Because the
Beowulf's
mash
fucking crazy is like the series of rapid punches, right?
Yeah, no, it's like
I was like, that one's fucking easy. What do you want about?
no. Agni and Rudra.
Yeah. Theirs is
Well,
fucking weird.
Beowulf's isn't too bad. Like I can get it probably like 2/3 of the time, if I'm not playing DMC3 regularly. Also, if you're not playing on turbo mode, it's way easier. If you're playing on turbo mode, oh yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't play on turbo mode.
yeah, I do. It's pretty demanding. Like you're just like,
Oh
why do I have to
my
mash
ass
so much
over.
harder? It's like adding a couple extra frames to, or it's like 10 or 20 extra frames every time. So,
Yeah.
Let's see. What else?
We have all the
Besides,
Swordmaster styles as well. Some of them are decent.
well, I'm saying, yeah, we do have those, but again, Swordmaster and Gunslingers can sort of be, like, Gunslinger isn't as busted because not all of, like, the utility that you get from the best weapons in Gunslinger is usually like the shotgun being able to like plow people based off of like repeated jumps, and Spiral being able to like weapon swap between that and like Ebony and Ivory, so you can blast people and zone them from a distance. You don't really need Gunslinger to do that. Gunslinger just makes it easier to use Ebony and Ivory, and it just makes Artemis actually usable, and then it adds like some cool stuff.
Artemis is such a shit weapon.
Whereas like I used to think Nevin was completely unusable outside of Swordmaster.
It is.
Now, no, not when you understand how amazing Reverb Shock is.
Oh my
Like,
god. Is that
like
the one where you
it's so,
slide on the ground?
yep, you slide on. It's the forward input. It's basically the stinger input. You slide on the ground and you add like 4 or 5 projectiles to that. Also, the aerial move is really good. You can do a slide into the DT air raid really smoothly into like other moves.
That sounds fucking ridiculous.
It is pretty nice. But Nevin does require practice. Um,
You know, I'm
so
just gonna say there's a reason no other weapon like never came out except for Lucifer. That weapon sucked too.
so we I guess we have to start talking about like what makes DMC so difficult that like that these styles would negate, because like the
Okay.
first thing I can think of is just having Quicksilver all the time. Like every fucking like problematic enemy, you're slow.
Well, okay, so let's establish right off the bat DMC 3 did not have as bad of normal enemies as future installments did.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So let's get that one out of the way right now. I think the normal game will be roughly the
Or
same because no amount of new styles is going to make that easier. It's just easy to begin with or harder to begin with. So some it will be easier somewhat because you can swap, but there won't be a big difference in the normal game. This is really going to shine in the bosses though. This difficulty downgrade is going to really
and
shine in the
on
bosses.
repeated playthroughs.
Oh yeah,
Repeated playthroughs, like
absolutely.
really gonna feel it.
Yeah, especially if you can max out at least 2 styles before Dante must die, you're gonna be fucking. It's gonna be a breeze.
I would argue hard mode is probably going to be hit the most by this, because most people only play normal mode to just beat the game the first time, or to go back to it to do like achievements or unlock costumes. Like they're
Yeah.
not genuinely trying to do it to like play through the game to get practice. If they do at that point, they're doing either BP, or they're trying it out on easy mode to get a taste for the difficulty, or they're playing it on a harder difficulty to challenge themselves so that they can practice. There's not really a reason for you to do a second normal mode. So hard mode is going to get hit hard by this, unless of course you do the thing where you're like, hey, I played normal mode through, I'm going to switch to Virgil for hard mode. That way I can just go straight into DMD mode with Done. Yeah,
I
okay.
will. I mean, I will say this quality of life is necessary because Virgil makes DMC3 trivial for the most part, and Dante kind of struggles hard keeping up with Virgil. So I do think this will
Dante
make Virgil more.
struggles. Yeah, Dante struggles immensely on DMD. If you're not
So
like a god, you know.
yeah, so I do think that this will, at the very least, make it more enticing to play Dante for new players on harder difficulty. So that's obviously a good thing there, I guess.
Oh no, it will be amazing. Like DMD will probably be like really interesting now, because you have situations, so many like I can literally recall all the worst gameplay instances in DMD from like every single level. Like for example, just to give you an example, mission 4, when you're going to get like the thing to open that what's it called? It's like you need to open the mission is like find the key among the stars or whatever. You need to
Yeah,
find like the astral label, and you go into the weapon. You go into that
it's
room
the
to get,
astronomical board.
yeah, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. You go into the room to get to the elevator, because there are sections of the Temenagru initial tower that are cut off by walls. So you have to go through the blue door, go upstairs, and get to the elevator, so that you can exit to the green door and make it to the yellow, and then fight Gigapede, and then at the end of that room, the mission ends, and you find the astral board and make your way back. So, yeah. Before you do that, right after you get out of the blue room and you go into that first section, there is an area of the room where you first meet the Enigma. Those sort of stone, they're like weird, demonic, like 6-armed creatures that
Just
fire
say the
like
fucking
arrows.
archers.
Yeah, the archers.
Fuck me, tell a fucking
So,
6-arm fucking stone shit. Bitch, we all know what the fuck we think of them. They're just
yeah,
archers.
so those people like those Soul Eaters and Blood Goyles are not bad on the first 3 difficulties. If you can't handle them, go fuck yourself. You're not good enough at the game.
Go
Very
play
hard
easy mode.
mode and DMD mode though. I don't know what Insu was thinking. Soul Eater is not too bad if it's like one-on-one. Blood Goyles can be interesting. Blood Goyles will be very interesting.
No,
Enigmas sort of get fixed by this problem, sort of, but we'll have to see.
okay, so DMC 3 was such a hard game inherently because most of your move set was limited behind like choice and sacrifice. So when you give everyone a choice, I don't think we're gonna be having that many problems
Well,
anymore with these
that's
situations.
not entirely true. One of the main things that also limited the like that increased the difficulty significantly was that enemies more so than any of the other games on higher difficulties got like new moves or their original moves were enhanced several times over, not in like a qualitative but like sort of a quantitative, but not the kind of quantitative like, oh, they're just made stronger. They were, but they were literally given like extra hits. Like the Enigmas, for example, can only fire a couple archery shots at you, like one, maybe two, and they had poor range and they were inaccurate. On the much higher difficulties, very hard mode, they fire like 4 or 5 of these and they hurt really badly. They're extremely accurate and they're difficult to deflect. And every Enigma encounter usually has at least 3 or 4 of them fighting you at the same time. And now on the higher difficulties, when you approach them, they trickster dash away from you, but they dash away from you faster than the trickster dash can catch them, like several times faster, and they do it repeatedly. So unless they're scripted to sit next to a spot, you have to like map down their movement. That doesn't get mitigated. Like they don't lose any of their arsenal by Dante having 4 styles. It just means now you have Gunslinger, so you can sort of compete with them in zoning.
I mean, yeah, but that was the big problem. Like when I was in a room fighting a shit ton of people in the harder difficulties as Dante, which I still haven't gone back and be in. The big problem was that I'm over here like, fuck, okay, I'm gonna run Trickster for the fucking, gonna run Trickster for the invincibility and shit. But I would have really liked to have Swordmaster here and Gunslinger and shit. Like I can think about every tough time I had in DMC. I could always think to myself saying, either A, this is bullshit, I'm playing Virgil, or B, I wish I had my other styles with Dante.
Yeah, but this is like again, it depends. This argument gets solidified more so if we get a regular full custom, because then you can be like, all right, now Dante. If that happens, I'm carrying Spiral with me at all times on DMD because I'm literally just gonna like, oh,
Spam Spiral.
Enigma. Let me just dash into the corner and then spam Spiral with Gunslinger until I zone you out. I mean, I don't want to do that. That's extremely restricted. The fact that that happens to be the most effective tactic means the Enigmas are not very well designed on
Why
and
don't you
very hard
just?
mode.
Why don't you just? I know this is crazy. Why don't you just trickster dash over to them and trap them behind a wall? That's what I do. They get stuck behind a wall eventually.
Like I told you, they move
No,
faster
no,
than
okay,
you can catch
okay,
them.
okay, yeah, but so you have to force them into a corner. You have to force them into the wall. Is what I'm getting at. That's how you beat them. You force them into the wall.
That only works like maybe like 10% of the time
I don't know
because
what the
most
fuck you're doing. That's like That's like a strategy that's worked out fucking
no,
beautifully for me.
it has worked on very few instances where again, I know all of the Enigma
Boy,
spawn
there's an
waves.
invisible wall everywhere. There's not a wall.
Dude,
What the fuck are you?
there are literally points. All the areas in which they spawn are open rooms,
Yeah, I
except for the
understand
first
that.
encounter. Except for the very first encounter, every
No,
single
okay,
one of them is an open room, and
okay,
they
so
can just
very
move
clearly
and
you're not
dodge and
chasing them
stuff.
far enough.
Like, yeah, I'm not chasing them like 5 or 10 times, and I'm just deciding, fuck it. You think I haven't tried that? You think I haven't tried that?
Apparently you
Really?
fucking haven't, because you're saying it's
No, I
not
have.
working. I can tell you right now, it fucking
I,
works.
I literally told you it does work. It just doesn't work the overwhelming majority of the
I've
time.
never seen it fail.
And by the time that you finish chasing them, they've taken chunks out of your health, so it's not
That's
worth the
why you
effort.
use Trickster so you dodge the arrows.
I don't want to use Trickster though.
Well, that's your fucking problem now, isn't it? I knew you were doing something wrong. Okay, but all joking aside here, yeah. So normal enemies, I don't think you're gonna be too affected by this one. If you had problems with normal enemies before, you'll probably still have problems with them later. The real thing here is the single boss fights. That's where things are gonna get really fucking up in the air.
So for the Hell Vanguard, that fight is going to be much more interesting for newer playthroughs now because they now have like Trickster and Gunslinger, so they can run away, do this stuff, and they can do aerial wave. He's gonna get. I mean, he was getting shat on anyway within the same playthrough with one style. So I don't really care if he gets smushed. And if you're the god of death and you get killed in like the first 5 minutes of the game, I think I'm gonna be okay with that.
Yeah, no, his fight for anyone who knows how to play DMC is gonna be so fucking trivial now because
It's
there's
a good
no
fight.
threat.
Don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah,
just
it
like
was good when you only had one style. Now that you have fucking four, you're gonna be fucking
look,
destroying
he's a
him.
great enemy. He's honestly one of the best enemies in like DMC. But like he doesn't have a lot going for him. He just can't compete with Dante.
I mean, really, if you mastered Royal Guard inherently, he couldn't. Well, no one could compete with you with Royal Guard except for maybe Virgil. But
No, not even Virgil. You just block his swords.
you challenge me? Allow me to show you
Virgil's
true
the
power.
easiest enemy to play around with Royal Guard because his timings and telegraphs are done really well. So you can.
Dude,
You
there's
can
no dude. This enemy literally, the fucking Hell Vanguard sends you a letter 2 days in advance of the attack he's gonna fucking use on you.
yeah, but his hitbox is moving back and forth.
His hitbox is
Side.
fucking retarded. I fucking hate his hitbox. It's so fucking stupid.
Either way, he's kind of weird. He's a weird situation. Gigapede probably not going to change. That boss is still terrible. So,
Imagine they'll
Dom-
actually imagine if they'll let you actually close the holes now.
right. Let's see. Agni and Rudra is going to be the first one that you're going to notice a considerable difference. Having the ability to again just run away, zone people like guns do an insane amount of damage to that boss on hard mode. Um, Even with just Ebony and Ivory, you don't need to sit back there and use Spiral. I just used Ebony and Ivory with like the charge shots, and I was able to do like almost the damage of like full sword combos, like every other iteration. Actually, yeah, no, I was able to do full sword combos, and that was without stacking DT on top of it.
Laps in DMC too.
I mean, I hope they don't change that. I hope they don't be like, hey, when you go into D, automatically makes your guns charge shots, because then that would completely nerf Gunslinger. Because then that one you'd have no reason to go to Guns.
Yeah, so Agni and Ruja for sure you're gonna see it. Navon, I think, is another one that's really gonna
Oh,
show.
Navon's it's gonna hit Navon way harder. She's gonna get like destroyed by a Style Switcher, because like Virgil, look, Virgil could already destroy her due to Judgment Cut, but like he's Virgil. Dante can hit her with one real impact and completely ignore her bat shield and just decimate it. Laugh as it just gets destroyed. Now he can use Swordmaster whenever he wants, so all you have to do is have Beowulf equipped. So assuming irregular full custom, even without that, most people use Beowulf anyway as
If
one of the
regular full
weapons.
custom comes out, this game is gonna be so fucking trivial for anyone who knows
What?
how to
Oh
play
yeah, on the
DMC.
first three difficulties, for anyone who knows how to play difficult, hard mode is going to become the new easy mode. We'll have like very easy mode and then like baby easy mode now.
If you lose at this point, just refund the game. We'll let you refund it.
If you lose at this point, you give Capcom more money. Suck.
Yeah,
Now,
no.
my concern is that before we get onto the rest of the bosses, is how this is going to affect very hard mode, because a lot of people have decided that very hard mode is the way that you should play DMC3. Because like hard mode is a little too easy, DMD mode is extremely brutal, and then like very hard mode is basically DMD
Well,
without the DMD mechanics.
here's the thing, which honestly, my personal opinion is the best fucking game mode in the game because honestly, Devil Trigger DT mechanics are so fucking. Or DMD
Yeah,
is stupid on the grounds that it's not harder, it's just more tedious. It's longer so you can fuck up more easily. That's what DMD is, and that's what's so fucking infuriating about it.
I
But
don't
no,
mind it if it's done well. Like again, DMC one's DMD proved that you can perform DMD very well if you implement mechanics where skilled players can like again can punish enemies if they're good enough at the game. Like you can kill enemies before they activate their DT if you're fast enough with your combos.
Yeah.
And then if you're too slow, you get punished.
In every single other fucking game, it's like at this certain health level, the enemy will DT.
Well, I think the problem with 3's DMD, the main issue with 3's DMD, like I don't complain about the sins. They do have a ton of health, especially Sloth. Oh my god, Sloth is like a mini boss. They do have a ton of health, but like a problem with how you were able to hit them was just because like you weren't able to do enough damage feasibly. Now you sort of can. It's just like you're still going to be fighting mobs of enemies that have a little bit of armor.
The problem with DMD and DMC3 is that every single room you're in has 200 fucking enemies. It's not possible to clear that place out without like fucking like just. Virgil's the only character I think who can clear it out because he just teleports nonstop to every single fucking target.
Yeah, no, Virgil's the only one who just plays like DMD like this is just my norm. Like Virgil plays DMD like as if he's in his base form with no problem. Like even Dante, you could argue on like the base version of 3 with like the normal super costume still had difficulty on DMD. And it's like what?
Virgil over here like you challenge me. I don't even need Devil Triggered for this fight.
One thing that I do need to mention, they are going to have to nerf the super costumes in that now. And for anyone who doesn't know, DMC3's super costumes don't take away from your stylish ranking when you complete a mission. So
yeah, because that's how it should have fucking been to begin with.
I mean, that's fucking retarded.
No, fuck you. I earned that costume. Don't penalize me for fucking 50% of my fucking score.
What are you talking about? You earn that costume for beating the level. That doesn't, or for beating this mode. That doesn't mean.
If I beat the game on the hardest difficulty, I should fucking be able to use this costume to get my style score.
No. To use this costume, that's where
Mangler,
no.
Stop that. V's canon is super costume when they punish me for it. I'm right here.
You're so dumb.
I am so fucking right.
They do need to change that though. So
I would say they need to do it for the legendary super costumes. I don't think they need to do it for the base ones. Unless the game does get super fucking trivial with fucking style
I'm saying like it is gonna get super fucking now because like.
Well, no, because I mean
you got Gunslinger at all times. That's like Gunslinger is insanely powerful. You've got Swordmaster at all times. You have Trickster. Fuck Royal Guard for now, because I'm just assuming. I love Royal Guard, but like I'm just assuming not everyone has the ability to run in with the same kind
DMC masters on Switch be like, you insult our weapon of choice.
It's just like not like Royal Guard isn't something you can just pick up like in 5. It needs time and practice. So generally speaking,
DMC veterans just twist their head 180 degrees back.
Yeah, I know. You didn't get inertia in 5.
Look.
Not my problem.
As of right now, DMC3 is going to be a lot easier no matter how you slice it with the style switcher. The game will not be anywhere near as hard.
On the first 3 difficulties, yes.
Okay, look, here's the thing though. Like, Dante Must Die is going to be hard, and very hard is going to be hard no matter what, but they're not going to be as hard as they are on DMC3 on the consoles, unless you just genuinely just stick to one fucking style the entire time.
Well, okay, yes, but like...
The game will not be as hard.
The difference might not be significant, though.
I don't know who the fuck is going to sit there and say, shit, you know what? Having 4 styles, or potentially 6...
Let me explain this in a way that you'll understand, right? Doppelganger is doing fuck all. Because it does fuck all, unless they redesign it, and they make it more accessible.
What if Doppelganger works with your other style switches, so it will copy your style switches?
That could be insane. Okay, like...
Like, do these styles still take effect when you swap out? Like, does Quicksilver stay Quicksilver when you go into Swordmaster and just fucking go to town?
This is assuming they don't make heavy gameplay changes to something, that they're just like, all right, we're porting the styles as they are, and then we're just like adjusting some of the windows for like Royal Guard to block stuff. That's it. Assuming that's it, Doppelganger is doing nothing for you on DMD.
Well, okay, so let's think about this
Unless
here
you
for a
practice
minute.
like that and nothing else.
I think it's safe to assume that Quicksilver will still work after you swap out of it. I think that's safe to assume. I do think they'll do that. If they don't, I'll be impressed that they didn't go that far. But if they go the full distance, I'm sorry, Mangler, this game's gonna be fucking a piece of cake. What's that,
Royal Guard,
Virgil?
as
You
I've
want to
said
fucking
before, Royal Guard, as I said before, even by the majority of hardcore DMC players, if you're not like a Royal Guard main, you're not going to be using it as
If
frequently.
you Royal Guard with Doppelganger, do you still get the full effect of the fucking block?
Okay, we don't know yet if you can use that.
Oh, Arkham, if this is the case, eat your heart out.
So that's about a third of your styles that you probably won't be using as frequently or anywhere near as often. Trickster just generally gets you to where you need to go, but also is mostly used in the higher difficulties for running away because of the sheer amount of damage that the enemies do to you.
But
And
you
the fact
only
that
need
they
level
can
1
attack you
for
multiple
that.
times at once. Wait, what?
But you only need level 1 for that.
Well, it's much in DMD. It's much easier to just have 2 dashes.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be easier to have multiple dashes, but you really only need the one.
I mean, to run away efficiently on DMD, you need 2, not 3, but you do need 2. Like just having shooting
and the
star.
jump.
It's just shooting star. It has nothing to do with the double dash. Like you're good, because like a roll dodge and a dash on the ground are more than enough. That's like iframes. But like air hike plus shooting star gives you a lot more comfort in the air. If shooting star was at Trickster level 1, it'd be different. It'd be very different. This is also assuming, like I said, they don't move any of the moves around from the style levels. Because they might be like...
I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they...
Okay. I was just going to say, in case they do, if they put shooting star in Trickster level 1, that would be amazing. But like, damn.
No, because then what do you get for Trickster level 2 then?
Wall run. You just swap them. Wall. Okay, so Trickster dash level 1, like singular dash and wall run are in level 1.
I don't think that's very. I don't think that's a very good draw. Like I don't think that's a very good turnaround because wall run. You're probably gonna say otherwise, but wall run wasn't that useful in DMC3.
I mean, its usefulness was specific. Like
where would you use wall run? I'm curious.
Like
where
in any room that has a wall, when you're trying to do air combos.
Yeah, I'm
when you're trying to get above enemies.
We have something for that. It's called jumping. Mangler, believe it or not, Mangler, I don't have to run to a fucking wall, run up it, and then leap behind my opponent in order to get over them. I can just click A.
Look, I understand that you're not a fan of being a Jedi, but
Jedi's jump too, Mangler! Look,
there are some people here that understand that you can be hit out of the air by enemies.
Then you're obviously not jumping correctly.
Jesus.
Look, I'm just saying that's not going to be the swap. If that's the swap, then there's no points level of Trickster.
So Trickster is still going to be good. Gunslinger is still going to be good, but Gunslinger will require you to get to certain weapons, some of which
are hidden.
Well,
actually, two of the weapons are hidden, right?
Yeah, Artemis, you do have to do a challenge, and Spiral, you do have to like actually go up somewhere and find it.
Isn't Kalanan also hidden as well? No, you get that from
No. Lady just gives that to you.
Yeah, you pick something else up there.
You also can't skip the shotgun because it's in the second level. So you
No. I think you can skip it. It's just a really hard 2.
It's on the wall right as you leave the.
Yeah, but you got wait. So do you have to pick it up no matter what?
I'm pretty sure tried to leave it. I've desperately tried to leave without the shotgun, and it just like it won't let me.
It's like here, Mangler.
I used to hate the shotgun. That was why, and then I was like, oh my god, the shotgun is bad.
You know, I was playing a fucking mobile game, and this guy's like, even though I can unlock a character for a team bonus, I'm gonna sell all the character shards because I really don't want this character. Just pick up the fucking weapon. Just pick the fucking character. Shit. I really hate this shotgun. I'm never gonna use it. Hey, buddy.
So Gunslinger is pretty specific, but like I've said, like most of your weapons, i.e., the shotgun and technically Colleen Ann don't require Gunslinger to be useful, and those are arguably the best guns in the game. Well, actually, Spiral doesn't either. It just requires Ebony and Iron. Artemis and Ebony and Ivory, though, do require Gunslinger. So given that it's almost half your guns, it's something to consider. Some people might not use it. So Swordmaster and Trickster will at least be able to be used at the same time. Swordmaster makes everything so much stronger. Holy shit. Having the ability to just throw Rebellion at people and then just be like, hey, let me just jump over there and beat your ass. Like, you literally, now you have the ability to do Killer Bee without Beowulf before you get Beowulf in your first playthrough. Because you can just do Sword Pierce, do Air Hike, and then jump over there. So that's great.
Look, the game's gonna be easy as shit for Dante now. He'll almost be like Virgil now.
As far as the bosses after Nevin,
Beowulf is next, I believe, or is he before Nevin?
Yeah,
well, it doesn't matter. Beowulf would be the next.
He's next. Mission 11. So Beowulf, again, you can now zone him. I zone him all the time.
I don't think Beowulf's gonna be too affected here because really Beowulf was a really straightforward boss. Like he'll be easier, but I don't think his boss will be inherently all that different.
Again, he's got a ton of defense on the higher difficulties.
Just fucking hit him in the eye.
It just means now you'll have more tools to deal with him, so the fight will be more interesting. It won't get boring.
Can you Royal Guard his light beam or his light AoE or no?
Yeah, you can.
Of course you
can. But you gotta be really careful.
Dante over here being faster than light to the point where he fucking makes a pose.
You can also block his light feathers, but that is...
No, fuck the light feathers.
That is the best projectile in the game. So
yeah, fuck those things.
Why
the fuck didn't I get that as a weapon?
Even if you trickster dash from it, you'll get zoned.
Yeah, fuck those things. Those things are
it will catch you in your iframe.
It will iframe your iframe. Okay, so then we have Virgil.
No, Garion.
Oh, Garion's next. Well, Garion was never.
I'm gonna keep Virgil for the last one.
Okay, Garion was never a problem. I don't think anyone who knew how to play the game had a problem with Garion. But now you can pick Gunslinger versus Trickster and like swap between them. He will be super fucking easy.
Well, Garion, if you had Air Hike, obviously, and like others, like after just getting Beowulf, becomes a lot easier because you just jump on him and like, shoot him and shit. Obviously, coming back with him with repeated playthroughs, once you get his Quicksilver, the fight becomes stupidly easy because every time he activates his ability, you just cancel his Quicksilver with your Quicksilver.
Really?
Yeah, you could just do that. You're like, I will stop time. You're like, nah, I don't care.
Now both of us are stop time. What now?
He stopped by time by stopping time.
Snap.
So that and the fact that you now have Trickster. If people are more comfortable with dashing, you now have the ability to dash on the fly. You can also do the Garion loop cheese, where you hit him with real impact after he gets up and does that thing. You can do that. You can zone him from a distance.
Look, Garion's not gonna be a boss anymore. Garion's gonna be
Garion is gonna be a fun boss now. He was a terrible boss before. A lot of people said, yeah, he was a lot of fun. Fuck you. He's not a lot of fun.
Garion was never fun until like the end half of the fight because he got super aggressive and that made it like more intense. So for me, Trickster, my invincibility, I actually had something to dodge now.
It's just like I'm running from him the entire time. That's not really a change. It's just now I can interact with him different ways when he runs from me, and he can't be safe from me forever. So,
Mangler, why do you sound like you just never use Trickster? Shit, half your problems will be solved if you just use Trickster.
You can't catch him with Trickster.
He's lies of the Jedi.
Tried to do it. You teleport to him. The carriage spikes on the sides will smack you.
Carriage spikes? You mean like the fucking carriage itself? There's no fucking spikes coming out of that shit. This is
there are on the wheels.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you mean the thing fucking hitting you? Okay,
yeah, no. There's not spikes sticking out of the side of the carriage.
Yeah, I never remember a giant fucking spike coming out of that shit.
I did. It got me.
Okay, so Garion will be nothing, and then the next boss is it's not. It's Lady.
Because 14 and 15 are just you running.
I think Lady is going to be the first boss fight, 100%. Won't change for shit. Because I guess you can do more damage to her, but nothing you can do will actually affect her herself. I think even in Quicksilver, she could just straight up fucking yeet out.
No.
I think I've seen that.
So what happens with Lady is that Gunslinger, this is like the only fight where you can't cheese her with Gunslinger, because she'll just
Shoot your
negate
bullets.
your bullets with more bullets, which is
Bullshit.
bullshit. It's just like, I did this in cutscene. Why are you able to do this again?
I am Dante. I am the one who has powers here.
I am the one who uses guns. Gunslinger level 10. Since all bullets surpass the concept of a bullet by negating all. All right, so there's that. There's the fact that you can't really get close to her a lot of times because she'll whip out Kalina Ann and just detonate the floor, or she'll do that little she'll do a submachine gun twirl where she hits you in close range and will stagger you. So most Swordmaster abilities don't really work on her, and you can't loop her. She also leaves the area so many times during the fight and then jumps on top of one of the bookcases and drops bombs everywhere. Those, I don't know if those can be royal guarded, but I'd be advised to do so. Trickster is useful in this. Trickster is probably the most useful in this battle. Besides that, Quicksilver. But like, Quicksilver doesn't always work because she has iframe dodges that she can do. So yeah,
Look,
Doppelganger is Doppelganger.
Doppelganger is. I think I can say with 100% certainty, Doppelganger is the one fight in this game that will still be fucking bullshit no matter how many styles they give you.
I'm saying like Doppelganger as a style is doing nothing.
Oh,
like it doesn't any. If you have a second person there, because you are on the Switch now.
Oh my god.
So the likelihood of you having another person that has played this game is actually possible.
Actually, DMC fans will be playing these characters on the Joy-Cons with both their hands individually to do both their combos. You know someone's gonna fucking do it. If you can do it, someone will do it. There's no doubt in my mind someone will achieve it.
They're probably gonna just be like, look, just play it on a full controller. Do not try to play 2-player with the Doppelganger or with Virgil during the fight. Split Joy-Con.
And then the Switch fans pull out the second controller and do it with 2 controllers still with one hand.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it is the smaller controller, I think, right? Or at the very least,
yeah.
it's because like you connect it to a square thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it is smaller.
So the thing that will matter more is if you have a regular full custom, that will matter much more in the lady fight than the styles being there will, because most Swordmaster abilities won't hit her. Royal Guard doesn't matter. Again, you're super specific Master God with it. Same thing with Doppelganger. Gunslinger just gets most of its abilities negated by lady just shooting your bullets out of the air. Trickster is always Trickster, so that and Trickster and Quicksilver will be useful, but they're always useful anyway. So besides that, then we have Doppelganger. Okay, Doppelganger wasn't really that hard initially because if you have air hike, you can just jump over him. You just got to be careful. Problem is, Doppelganger can't be interacted with when the lights are off. So, I guess now you have Quicksilver. So if he tries to run at you, you can just be like, stand still, and then just like let me hit all of the lights by the time you get halfway across the room.
Yeah, but the fucking lights take so long to actually fucking hit that even if you can slow them down with Quicksilver, it's not really gonna make that big of a difference.
Well, you do realize you can preemptively hit.
No. I understand you can prime them. I do understand that, but you're asking a new player to go into the darkness, prime like fucking. How many do you need to actually activate? You need to activate all but one, right?
The player is doing normal mode, so like you have to activate like I think.
Okay, 8? You have to activate all but one. I think is what you. No, you have to activate. No, you have to activate all of them, right?
Well, okay, so Doppelganger can be turned like you can knock him out of his shadow form if he runs in. He can be knocked out of his shadow form if he runs in front of a light when you activate it.
No, he will jump, or at the very least, in my personal experience, he always jumps away. You have
he'll do both. So if he runs in during the frame that it activates, like the instant it activates and he gets caught in the blast zone, he'll be like, oh, and then like his body like he'll shatter. And you can get a couple hits in, and then he'll jump away. There's also points where if you activate it right before he gets there, if he's not quite in the blast zone, he'll jump away immediately because he'll sense like, oh, my shadow form's going to get shut off. I don't want to get hit by that, and will like immediately evade. Besides that, you have to turn on all the lights to hit him. You can also damage him by knocking his shadow ball back at him, or whatever he tries to turn off one of the lights. So Quicksilver is going to be crazy in this fight. All the styles don't really mean anything unless, like, again, Royal Guard God. Like, Trickster will be useful for, like, for purposes of.
Are we talking about Arkham now?
No. Doppelganger. Trickster will be useful for bypassing of, like, him and just getting to other places. This fight is kind of stupidly easy if you have another person, because if you use your own doppelganger, you can just send one person to the other side of the.
You open the fucking lights.
Can you imagine you prime like 3 of them and then just go over and then like have your player run over there and just do like punch stuff? It's just like, let me just turn the camera slightly so that you have 2 of them and I'll just do this one, and they just stinger over to one of the lights and then like and then hit the other one.
Yeah, and then after this fight is the chessboard. Technically,
Yeah,
the chessboard is.
oh wait, we forgot the Leviathan heart.
No one fucking cares about Leviathan Heart. That fight's gonna be stupid no matter how many styles you have. Okay, let me rephrase this. If you are the Royal Guard God over there that Mangler keeps mentioning, the fucking chosen one.
I mean, that's kind of like the Royal Guard God double. That's applicable to every single boss, at the same degree, except for Virgil, because he happens to be the easiest character in the game to Royal Guard.
No. Look, man. That's where you're wrong. The easiest guy, the Royal Guard in this game, by far, is fucking Beowulf. Who we forgot to mention, actually.
No, it's Virgil.
No, you're wrong.
And anyway, besides that, yeah, I guess Leviathan Heart's mostly the same because everybody just jumps on top of the Devil Trigger Heart and just like kicks it.
Yeah, Leviathan Heart is not going to change much in this situation because the fact of the matter is your strat. This is why I think the lady fight also is not going to change that much either. Your strategy doesn't get expanded because the fight's so stupid.
You just literally have a bunch of getting the game. Like
I have all these fucking toys, but I have to use Legos.
It's probably gonna suck more now because it's like, imagine you're playing with a second player. You're playing Doppelganger, and you're like hitting the red orb heart, and the DT heart's like, "I'ma just suck you up."
No. Yeah,
playing with Quicksilver, it's just like, why is it turning off?
Leviathan Heart will be stupid no matter what, but again, I'll still argue they'll all be easier to some degree with
my
styles.
God, we forgot Cerberus. How do we forget Cerberus?
I just mentioned him!
Okay, so Cerberus will be very interesting because
I think Cerberus will be one of those characters who, because of his bullshit hacks abilities, he will not inherently be easier with the style switcher.
Okay, on DMD, that is technically true if you don't know what his heads do.
Yeah, his heads are going to make a big difference. Like, knowledge of Cerberus is going to be more important here than having styles.
Oh yeah, no, it will make this fight way more interesting and way more playable. I hated that in the initial, like, DMC 3, but that was also because like I was limited, and it was the fact that like I didn't really know what the heads did until like the second port of the HD collection, and even then, after like a lot of practice, sometimes I still forget like what specific heads do.
If I recall correctly, red fires a ball down the middle, blue calls down the ice shard storm, and yellow fires the stream of ice that freezes the ground.
What do you mean yellow? You're talking about the light that flashes in their eyes?
Well, yeah, that's how you fucking identify the heads. Or I mean, obviously they look different, but you get what I'm saying.
I identify the heads based on the design.
So it's a bulldog. I want to say one's a fucking Labradoodle.
I think one of them's like a wiener dog head.
Yeah. One of them's wiener dog head. One's a fucking bulldog, and I want to say the last one's just like a normal fucking Rottweiler.
I'm pretty sure the wiener dog head is the one that freezes the, because his mouth is the.
I mean, obviously I know their attacks. I just don't know the specific fucking head right now.
It doesn't really matter. It's just like, for the purpose of consistency here, you're going to be a little bit, you're going to have a little bit more lenience because you can shoot him now at a distance. Quicksilver still be useful.
If Quicksilver is still on with the other styles, this game will be like fucking.
Oh my god,
butter.
this is like every boss. They're gonna need to buff every boss if that happens. Like, just be like, hey,
Every boss now ignores time manipulation at higher difficulties.
That would be insane, but honestly, like, I wouldn't mind that as much.
Okay, so
As long
yeah.
as like basic enemies just get completely shit on by Quicksilver, I'm fine with that.
So that's that situation with fucking what's his face with the
Cerberus.
servers. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Onto the chessboard. Okay.
This
Chessboard on
should be
normal
easier.
difficulties. Chessboard on normal difficulties gets decked. Curb stomped, eliminated, nobody cares. We're very hard mode, it's annoying, but they don't have DT. And they have 50% less health. So while the king does take a lot of time, you can technically kill all the chests before they get across the board and kill most of the rooks before they spawn reinforcements. The style thing there only makes that easier. So it's going to be like feasible in terms of the length of time. And you'll be able to get S ranks on that mission much more consistently if you want to boss rush everybody. DMD, that fight is now going to at least not be cancer. It
Yeah,
will
I
now
was
just be
gonna
like,
say it's not gonna be anywhere near as hard anymore, just by virtue of having Royal Guard and fucking Trickster to back you up.
honestly, Virgil's might be the more insufferable if they don't kit. Wait, did you hear what I said?
I heard something about Virgil and Insufferable.
I said honestly, Virgil's might be the insufferable one now if they don't change his kit, because Dante will just have so much more stuff at his disposal.
Imagine, we're gonna give Virgil both Doppelganger and Quicksilver, so now he can stop time on
I mean,
you.
you can actually use Quicksilver with Virgil in the Style Switcher mod for the PC. They don't let him use any of Dante's styles, obviously, but I think they let him use Doppelganger as well.
Look, the fact of the matter is when Virgil came to DMC3, they should have just given him a form of Doppelganger and Quicksilver. It would have made sense, but no, not that's neither here nor there. Um, they're gonna give Yamato the property to shut down your Quicksilver.
That would be fucking insane. I'd be
He
like,
just fucking
no.
unsheaths his sword and just fucking shatters the white light. Like, oh fuck me, that was my only plan.
Like if he hits you, it just deactivates Quicksilver.
You got Doppelganger out? Alright, let's do this. He just like fucking hits Doppelganger and now Doppelganger dies too. Just sucks up your DT and you're just like, that wasn't in the original game.
So the chessboard will be easier.
I mean, it's still a shit fight.
I get it's still a shit fight. The king is probably not going to get nerfed in the amount of health. If he does, thank God, thank you Capcom. But he has almost as much health as Arkham.
Arkham is going to be the fun one. I hope they mention Arkham. Oh, I hope they talk about it.
Okay, so if Arkham is unchanged, expect the same experience. If he's not changed,
6 times worse because now you have 6 styles.
If he's not changed, well, actually, it depends. Like if we have a regular full custom, even if we don't have the styles, we'll still have tons of new weapons. So
again, but right now we're talking specifically like what we know. Yeah,
okay,
if we're talking styles, if they don't switch it, it's gonna be even worse now because you relied on too many weapons.
If they do change it, what would they change? Because I've proposed that they lock out the DT button and then map Virgil's teleport to that. So that way, Doppelganger, Quicksilver, and your DT will be deactivated. Basically, you're theoretically your most broken mechanics available to you.
I'm gonna be honest here. I think they should keep Virgil shutting down your styles. Just give you DT. Give you the DT, and then if you DT, Virgil DTs, but just keep your styles off. That's how I think they should do it.
Way too much fucking damage. If they activated a regular...
That motherfucker had like 3 million health! We need this kind of damage!
Invincible. Like,
yeah,
there's no consequences to Virgil going into DT or being...
Where's the problem here? It sounds great to me.
Whereas, like, if you use styles, it's the fight is entirely based on your skillfulness.
Like, so it is with Devil Trigger. I mean, I have the stinger.
No, it isn't.
I have the stinger.
It's a flat damage boost.
Mangler, those stingers ain't gonna land themselves.
It's a flat damage boost, 50% damage reduction, more armor, and you're faster.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds great.
No negatives.
The negative is I look stupid in DT. That's the negative.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm right here. But no, personally, that's what I would do. Because honestly, if you give him the styles, it's still going to be super easy. In fact, I'd argue it's easier with styles versus without styles.
All right, so your prediction is that they're going to allow Devil Trigger.
No, my prediction is it's going to stay the fucking same. But if they do change it, my prediction is they'll give us Devil Trigger instead of styles.
If they do change it, my prediction is that they'll give us styles instead of Devil Trigger.
Plot twist. They let you keep both, and they just have Virgil be a separate AI.
Oh my god, they're just like, we'll do you one better.
Nice try.
Yeah,
But this
no. Virgil
loop.
has no. Virgil becomes his own AI with fully playable moveset, including in this game.
If your fucking friend clicks start, he still has control over Virgil.
No. Just get that. He goes into DT, gets a new mechanic, and activates Dimension Cut, nukes the entire area with Judgment Cut.
I
I am
suspect.
the final boss.
I suspect we will get a version of Super Judgment Cup for Virgil. I suspect they'll give us some form of super move for
So
Virgil.
now on to Virgil. Okay, this is I sort of have to combine all the Virgil fights because of the way that the style switcher like works. It's entirely possible they're going to do a couple things for Virgil without even including without even assuming they're expanding Virgil's kit. There are things that they can do to make Virgil counter Dante having this. Number one, make him use summon swords on lower difficulties. Number two, make him use more of his unique teleport on the earlier fights, also with his teleports. Number three is using, DT earlier, using it in the first fight. There's really no point in him not using it or something of that nature. Because
on higher difficulties, though, if he does it on normal, it'll still fuck me off.
He doesn't. He only uses trick 2 and trick 1. He doesn't use trick down or trick up in the first fight. He only uses trick up in what's it called? Fight number 2, and he only uses trick down in fight number 3. He needs to be able to use all of them in all the fights, and they need to be implemented in there. He needs to have summon swords on all difficulties, and then DTs in most difficulties. I think though for the third fight, they should allow him to still use Beowulf. He should not lose Beowulf. I'm
gonna call it right now. They're gonna give Virgil an added passive to where if he parries you, he locks you into that style for like 10 seconds.
That would be fucking great. I might hate that honestly, but like that would.
Oh, they're fucking
crazy.
doing the combo ends up on fucking Gunslinger. No.
They're probably gonna add some mechanics. Luckily, Virgil already has like his own judgment in, but
they really just need to add counters to style switching for Virgil. I think if you do that, the fight will be way more balanced. And the way I think you do that is by giving him a style randomizer, in that if he hits you a specific way, your style is now randomized and locked, and it's just a style lock in general.
I'm still on board with the idea that Quicksilver just shouldn't work against the bosses, or should work for a smaller period of time. That it should consume more DT energy to use against the boss.
No, what'll happen is you see, it'll work on the boss, and then after a few seconds, the boss will have a DT burst, and it breaks the fucking time loop.
Either way, that'd be cool too. There
loop.
needs to be a balance change for Quicksilver. Quicksilver is extremely easy to use. You're just stand still, and that's exactly what happens. You're just sitting there waiting a million years for the enemy to get near you. Now, besides that, this is assuming Virgil doesn't, even without Virgil not getting anything kit, just being able to use these moves will make him a completely different beast. Being able to use summon swords on lower difficulties puts so much fucking pressure, specifically because all versions of the game at this point have released with Virgil only using summon swords on DMD. The main reason he's one of the toughest boss fights in that game, the first couple times you go through DMD, is because you have no clue that he can use summon swords. You literally don't know because you assume he doesn't have them. Because he doesn't, and then you show up in mission 7 on DMD and you're like, all right, Virgil, I'm ready to fight. This should be a little bit easier. And then he's like, don't get so cocky. And you're like, what the hell? Put those away! And you just get Nello Angelo flashbacks and you're just getting blitzed left and right.
Again, I do think, honestly, it's gonna be fucking a shit show.
They need to make changes so Virgil is that intimidating this time around, where he's.
They're gonna return it back to the original difficulty.
Just get it. They might do that. If they buff the difficulty, I'd be fair. Just the overall health and damage, I'd be fine with that. But they shouldn't buff DMD. They shouldn't.
I personally think, given the so. Since no Dante for Smash, I think we can safely say that all the announcements are going to be for DMC3 on the Switch. So I think
Which,
we can estimate off that now.
honestly, I'm happy for at this point because I was fucking Sakurai Fire Emblem character. Like, Jesus Christ. If he'd announced anyone else, I might have been about the only being for DMC3. But now I'm like, fuck you guys. I want my DMC content.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think it will be new moves for Virgil. I think one of those announcements will be new moves for Virgil.
I'm just curious if they'll make his AI do it because obviously we shouldn't have him use
Virgil's
Beowulf
gonna
moves.
call down giant swords like he does in the reboot.
So he shouldn't use Beowulf or Force Edge moves when he's got. Obviously. However, there are moves he doesn't use. He should be able to use Aerial Rave, which is why I said like trick up Aerial Rave because Aerial Rave in DMC3 is really fast. That can punish.
You need to stop with that shit, Mangler. You need to shut the fuck up.
Aerial
You are
Rave?
not giving Virgil aerial rave.
I will give Virgil Aerial Rave.
You need to fucking stop with that shit. You're going fucking crazy here.
Also, Virgil does need the ability to use Lunar Phase. I don't know why they didn't give him that.
Oh, gee, I wonder fucking why.
It's like he's locked in the animation. He just looks at you and he's like, huh, and he's just like he's stuck there for like a full second. You just
but you act like if that doesn't hit, it won't fucking just destroy your health bar. That's probably an instant kill right there, man. It's like 10 hits.
Again, if Rising Sun and Starfall didn't kill me, Lunar Phase by itself is not going to kill me.
That's when he combos it into Starfall.
That would be fucking insane. He just jump cancels off you. Just starts calling.
And then he DTs into the final Starfall.
He DTs, air stingers, helm breakers behind you, and then summons swords. It's like too slow, and then like taunts you as the swords.
And then right before you die, he does the Judgment Cut end.
He's like, just for good measure. And then he's just like, where's your motivation? And you're just like, what just happened?
No amount of gold orbs will save you this time. Yeah, not 3, that's for damn sure.
The gold orbs show up on the screen, and then he's just like, huh, scum, and he just cuts it in half.
Sure.
All right, so here's what they could do. Give him Lunar Phase. Like, you can get behind him with that. I mean, if you want to give Virgil enemy step, all right, but please don't.
I want them to redesign Virgil's AI from the ground up, and I want them to call down Gary to give him the moveset.
So, besides that, again, this is assuming they don't give him new moves. They could have given him brand new moves we've never seen before.
I guarantee you they'll be giving him some moves from DMC 4 and 5. I guarantee it.
Give him high time in the third fight. Why does he not have high time? He has Upper Slash, which is worse than high time. Actually, it's worse than high time, and yet he hits so many people with it because every time you parry him on the lower difficulties, he spams Upper Slash. He's just like, huh, and then just like it just gets you, and you're like, because it comes out extremely fast.
Yeah, fair. All right, Mangler. As much as I hate to end this video a bit early here, unfortunately, I do have. It's already about to be an hour and 30 minutes.
It's already what?
It's already. So
we'll have to do a part 2 then.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because unfortunately, I do have an appointment today with somebody, so we'll pick this. We'll probably live stream part 2 later tonight. I'll upload this like earlier today, and then we'll live stream part 2 later.
All right, I'll be on.
All right, laters.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone watching, thank you guys for your time as always, and have a nice day.